Linux finally won. Games work, drivers work, updates are better. Even Linus Tech Tips admitted that. So why did one of the biggest tech channels on Earth end up saying they'd rather ask ChatGPT for help than talk to actual Linux users? Because the biggest thing holding Linux back in 2026 might not be Linux at all. It might be the people. And honestly, that's the part nobody saw coming. People are worse. Let's talk about it. Linus Tech Tips just finished a month-long Linux challenge. And the verdict was surprisingly positive. Games launched. Performance was great. Windows looked outdated. But buried inside their final review was something much bigger than operating systems. A confession. They trust AI more than the Linux community. And whether you're a Linux fan or not, that's a conversation worth having.
The Linux user base, I think if I had to summarize it, is weird because collectively, the community is actually really great. Yeah. And individually, they're really great. Usually. But it's like the little cliques, the little tribes that form, and then things get kind of toxic.
And this is where things get interesting, because I think Luke is both right and wrong. Right because we've all seen it. You search for a simple problem. You open Reddit. The first comment calls the question stupid. The second starts an argument. The third is from 2018 and doesn't even apply anymore. Meanwhile, ChatGPT gives you an answer in 10 seconds. No ego, no gatekeeping, no actually just an answer. And that's a huge reason Linux feels more accessible today. Not because Linux suddenly became easy, but because AI became a translator between normal humans and technical communities. But here's where I think Linus Tech Tips oversimplifies things. The Linux community isn't one thing. The loudest people online are rarely representative of the entire ecosystem. Most users aren't screaming on Reddit. They're helping people quietly in Discord servers and forums nobody hears about. The internet rewards the worst behavior, because that's what gets amplified. The second thing Linus Tech Tips talked about was anti-cheat. And honestly, I think they're blaming the wrong side. A lot of Linux users told them, just don't play those games. Which is obviously ridiculous. Nobody switches operating systems so they can lose access to games they enjoy. That's not adoption. That's a sacrifice. But here's the bigger question. Why are we treating kernel-level anti-cheat as a Linux problem? Linux isn't blocking the games. The game developers are. Developers are choosing to support one platform while excluding another. That's a business decision, not a technical limitation. If anything, Linux users should be angry at publishers, not at Linux. And honestly, this is where some of the community loses the plot. Telling people they shouldn't want certain games doesn't help Linux grow. It just makes Linux look hostile. But the most fascinating part of the video wasn't Linux, it was Windows. Because Linus basically described Windows as a sinking ship. Ads, dark patterns, bloat, update frustrations. And yet, he's still going back. That should tell you something. People don't choose the best tool. They choose the tool with the least friction. And that's a huge difference. Linux might be faster, cleaner, more private, but if your workflow depends on Windows software, convenience wins. Every single time. And that's why I laughed when Linus started talking about debloating Windows, because think about that for a second. If your solution is breaking parts of your operating system so it's bearable to use, the operating system already failed. You're just choosing a different kind of pain. And that's my biggest takeaway from this challenge. Linux didn't lose. Linux actually looked pretty impressive. What lost was the human layer. The forums, the tribalism, the gatekeeping, the endless distro wars. Ironically, AI might end up doing more for Linux adoption than Linux itself ever did. Because normal people don't want a philosophy lesson. They want answers, and AI is becoming really good at giving them. But what do you think? Is the Linux community really its own worst enemy? Or is Linus blaming people for problems that are actually technical? Let me know in the comments. And if you like tech commentary that separates what's real from what's hype, you know what to do. The Real Bite. See you on the next one.